Myself. My name is Navyata Sagar, Appata Kannadati, your Bangalore girl, and I'm going to be your host and host for today. So let's have a big round of applause for ourselves, everybody, once again. On behalf of Gain Skills Business Media, we extend a very, very warm welcome, all of you, to the 11th edition of DCX Convex and Awards 2025 Bangalore chapter. So yes, I'm quickly going to be taking a minute to thank all our esteemed partners for today. Let's have a big round of applause for presenting partner Salesforce. Let's have the applause coming in, and let's give it up to our co-presenting partner Locobuzz, Platinum partners Freshworks, Unifor, Gold partners Ace Phone, Lead Square, Haptic, Gnani.ai, our silver partner Hallocom, Serve.com, exhibit partner Sprinkler, and our networking partner EOS Glow. So yes, once again, we are extremely delighted to have each one of you here today, as we appreciate your presence at this amazing customer experience innovators, where all the CX leaders, and we're going to be having the digital transformation champions out here. In today's hyper-connected world, customer service is no longer a function. It's a strategy, a differentiator, and the heartbeat of every successful business. As customer expectations continue to evolve rapidly, organizations must move beyond transactional engagement and towards personalized, frictionless, and emotionally intelligent experiences. And throughout the day, you'll hear from all of our industry pioneers and CX practitioners who are driving these transformations, sharing actionable insights on everything from voice of the customer strategies and productive analytics to digital empathy and experiencing-centric culture. We also take time to honor and celebrate the outstanding achievements in customer experience through CS Excellence Awards 2025, which will happen afternoon, recognizing organizations and individuals who have raised the bar in innovation, impact, and customer loyalty. So yes, now it's time for me to welcome our first speaker for today. Well, we have Mr. Akhilesh Dwivedi, the Senior Director, Returns and Customer Experience from Zepto for all of us. And his topic is redefining CS measurement beyond CSAT and NPS. A quick minute to introduce about him. Well, he brings over 14 plus years of diverse experience spanning e-commerce from Flipkart, Amazon, Zepto, online transportation services, Ola Cabs, and steel manufacturing from Tata Steel Limited. His career reflects a strong foundation in both traditional and digital industries, with expertise across the key operational and strategic domains. Well, he is highly skilled in supply chain design, category management, business performance enhancement, lean operations, process excellence, as well as program and project management. And with a strong analytical mindset, with a consistent record of academic excellence, he's known for his solution-focused approach with continuous drive for learning. And yes, he consistently delivers the measurable impact and operational excellence. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Akhilesh Dwivedi, the Senior Director, Returns and Customer Experience from Zepto, to join us on stage, please.
Thank you so much for a great introduction. I think we went a little over the top there, but okay. So, first of all, thanks to the team for providing the opportunity. People who are sitting in front of me have, I'm sure, much more experience, expertise than I bring to the table. But I do have a unique point of view, because I happen to have spent time in companies such as Amazon, Flipkart, now Zepto, also Ola. And that gives me a unique perspective, right, which I really want to bring to you. And I want to set the tone by saying how important customer experience is. How is it more than just a function, and how it can help your business grow, create a differentiator, and most importantly, be present in the minds of consumers as a brand that cares about customers, right? This is what I would try to do. And as I said, since I have been in these companies, I would like to not make this very boring and give you a very, 3 stories from my 3 different organizations, and I want to pick a theme for each story, right? Before that, when I first got into customer experience as a charter, I was given 1 day time to prepare a presentation and present to the Ola interview panel. What I did, I just went through some research papers and I found out there are 5 different dimensions of customer experience, right? Number 1, you have the availability of service or product. You open the app, do you see everything that you want? That's the first thing. That's why companies, monitor fill rate. That's why companies monitor the availability of cabs and so on. Second is reliability. If I open the app, do I see the dal selling at 45 rupees every day or does it vary too much, right? The reliability of service. Do I get cab 10 minutes sometimes, 15 minutes other times? I'm not okay with that. So that's the reliability aspect. The third aspect is the affordability. A lot of consumers have different appetite for, paying, different appetite for the means with which they can pay, the methods with which they can pay, and therefore you have emergence of things like BPNL, buy now, pay later, and so on, right? BNPL. So, fourth aspect is the safety. If you are delivering a service where you are entering physically, touching the customers, physically going to the location of the customers, and customers have got to feel safe. Cab is a very good example of that, right? Delivery guys sometimes creating nuisance is another example. And then last part is customer service. With all said and done, things will go wrong. And therefore, what do we do to make sure that we recover that poor service delivered, right? That's called service recovery framework. So these are the 5 dimensions. And the research says that the first 3 are most important: the availability, reliability, and affordability of service, right? Super, super important. You have to focus as a company. It's not a choice. Now coming to the stories that I wanted to talk about. The first story is metrics of customer experience are not just numbers, not just statistics on your, on your monthly business review to look at. This is much more than that. This actually shows how careful you are about the customers, how much do you care about them. The first story is, if you remember back in 2015-16, when Ola was actually, on the upswing, there was one typical problem we were experiencing. Typically, a lot of riders would start the ride, complete the ride without customers. This is called start-stop ride or the ghost rides in the Uber lingo. Up to 1.8% rides were happening that way. So what I did is, obviously this task was given to me. I was driving the customer experience charter. I was supposed to eliminate a lot of problems like driver behavior, cab quality, and so on. But this was the biggest chunk because the rating associated with this problem was very low. It was 1 star, of course, for valid reasons. So what I started doing is, because Ola had this customer feedback system, customer used to write their sentences, why they are antagonized by this particular experience. And in one instance, I found a comment which sort of wrenched my heart. It was an elderly lady who said that I wanted my husband to go to the hospital. He fell in my house and now seems to have broken his bone, and your driver keeps, completing the ride without me. I called them and arranged obviously a cab for them immediately. But what I did realize is, even though it's just one complaint on your overall DPMO that you monitor, it actually writs very large in the scheme of customer experience. So a lot of sensitization happened because of this simple example, and we came up with a very, very basic solution. Two-factor authentication was something that was mostly a banking kind of a thing. People wanted to use it OTP based, for the banking products. So we just came up with this idea, why don't we go ahead and do it in the cab industry? And that's how the whole idea of OTP based ride came in. In the very first days, what we used to do is, we used to take the last 4 digits of customer request number and we would ask customers to put it as the OTP to start the ride. If you think very simply, it's the giving the power of starting the ride to the customers. That's the principle, right? So this is one story where, and once we launched this, these requests or these instances were eliminated. These went more than 99% down because it's a tech solution, and I'm sure Bangalore likes to do things the tech way. So this is one story that still has very deep impact on my psyche, that every customer matters, every customer complaint matters. You never know what they are going through, so please have, solutions in place. The second story is about from Amazon, where I want to. Okay? Yes. Okay. Second story is from Amazon. This story is about how can customer experience give you strategic advantage. So, a lot of brands exist on Amazon which want to sell appliances, television, refrigerators, air conditioners and so on, but they do not have service infra because there is a category of products which is called ready to use products. You buy a book, you immediately use it. But there is a category of products like television, you buy it, you cannot immediately use it because you have to make it ready to use. How do we do that? So the simple way to do that is to provide the services of installation demo so that customers can use them. And as I said, a lot of brands exist which do not have service. Example is Cloudwalker TV. It's a great TV. They do not have service infra. So Amazon Home Services, I was the category manager. I was leading the business at that time. And what we realized is there is a big gap. TV gets delivered today. 2 days later, a guy comes in and installs it. And then customers are able to use it. Why 2 days gap? It's a very, very poor experience. Even though the service rating is good, per se 4.5 star, customers are still struggling. So sometimes numbers do not always represent the kind of inconvenience they are going through. So this is where I came up with this idea of unified delivery and installation. That why don't we have the delivery vehicle and the technician who's going to install it go, together. Let the TV get delivered, let them install it, and then initially there was a lot of challenges as is already implied by this service. It's a very costly service. Typically a service of AC installation costs 250 to 300 rupees. This was 800 rupees kind of a service. But then there comes Mr. Todd from OnePlus Television, right? He comes to Amazon, has a meeting with us, and he says, we will be able to launch OnePlus on Amazon exclusively if you provide this service only to us. And that's how we were able to onboard OnePlus TV. And this obviously was given as an exclusive service to them, but the rest is history, right? That's almost like a Tesla launching in India in terms of televisions, right? So a simple service seen through the lens of providing superior customer experience can give your business a strategic advantage, right? Now let us come to the third story, which is the story from Zepto. A lot of news Zepto has been making of late, past 1.5 years, at least on LinkedIn has been mostly dedicated for Zepto. Zepto does things very fast. It's an execution focused company and we do not want to spend time thinking, brainstorming too much. Let's do it, fail fast, move on to the next design of experiment construct and let us iterate, quickly learn and implement, right? One such thing that came up last year was, why don't we go ahead and start everything other than grocery, such as apparels, electronics, toys, home needs. And these products are required. I mean, nowadays people buy not in 2 days or 5 days, but in 10 minutes, 12 minutes. That's a consumer habit now. So, makes no sense to think that they won't apply the same level of thinking when they want to buy, let's say, apparels or electronics, mobiles, etc. But there is a challenge. A lot of customer complaints are coming regarding different product delivered, wrong product delivered, I don't like the product, the size doesn't fit and so on. Naturally, there is a need for customers to send it back and maybe make a return or make a replacement. If you do a simple replacement, then you have created a simple supply chain capability. But how do you turn it into a marketable capability, right? And that's where the idea comes in that why don't we say instant return as a marketable capability. And this was the idea came that straight from Adit, not my idea really. He came up with this idea that we will have to create this 10-minute return, no questions asked. You want to tier your customers, A, B, C, D, you want to give it to certain customers, not give it to certain, that's your call. But it has to be an instant return policy. And you would have seen, I think around 6 months back, this was marketed heavily on, multiple marketing channels. This gave us the most important lever, which is the lever for growth. Category growth exploded after that. From 20,000 orders to 1 lakh orders happened within a matter of 2 months, right? I'm talking about the new categories. So if you think customer first, if you really try to solve the right problems, you have unlocked not just strategic advantage like happened with Amazon, but also a marketable capability that drives growth. So because I had this unique advantage of being at multiple places at the right time, so I just wanted to share these stories with you to bring home these 3 points. I'll just quickly summarize. Number one, we are talking about customer experience, not just a metric, not just a number. Don't fall for DPMO. Some customers are really, really antagonized by what you are delivering. So pay attention, listen to their voice. Number two, if you design a service by going over and above your already 4.5 state rated service, it can become a strategic advantage. You will have partnerships that will give you headway into where the competitors cannot go. And the third is, which is the last story, is how can you create a marketable capability out of simple customer experience levers, and that drives the growth for business. I think it's not a choice, it's a must for everyone, and we have to start thinking customer experience as a lever that actually becomes as indispensable as supply chain, as as let's say tech or product, right? So very, very high regard for it. This is what I wanted to share. I hope I have been able to communicate my points. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Sure. So please stay back. We have a token of appreciation for you. I request Mr. Vinay Kumar T from ITC Limited, the Training and Quality Audit, Customer and Stakeholder Experience Management, to please join us on stage to hand over the token of appreciation to the gentleman, please.